So I'm going to present Zenaton. The session is listen only, but please ask a question to the chat. I will be happy to answer to it in real time if there is something that is not clear for you. Of course, at the end, we will email you the link to the recording. So don't worry. We will also provide the sources, the link to the sources, and what I'm going to talk about will be a quick introduction to Zenaton, and then a session of live coding, not too long, but enough for you to see how to use Zenaton for code a workflow and deploy it to production. You will see that in 15 minutes we can already code quite nearly already a bit sophisticated workflow. Then I want to share some an exciting new feature that we have released just a few weeks ago, the sandbox, and I'm obviously open to questions. Just quickly, Zenaton has a lot of use cases. Today we are going to talk about personalized communications. Basically, it's how to communicate in a personalized way to your users based on what they do in your application. So if the user does this type of action or not with the time, then you can personalize the communication. This is what we're going to talk about, but there's a lot of other use case. And specifically, has Zenaton is code-based. Zenaton is very well suited also to custom integration. So meaning you can code any API calls you want, any integration with third party with SaaS, because it's a code base. So what I'm going to demonstrate today, it's a simple activation workflow where the user, my hypothesis is that the user will actually has to do something. It's a bit related to Zenaton. We want, for example, the user to install the agents. And so we are, for example, waiting the user to wait to install the agent for 1 month. If he has not installed the agent after 1 month, then we will send a specific email. As soon as he has installed the agents, we will wait for him to do something with it, so to be activated, and then we will wait, for example, for 20 minutes. If after 20 minutes he did nothing, then we can propose some help, by email. And if he understands how to use it, then we can, for example, wait 3 hours and send links to more elements in the documentation. So this is a simple workflow, activation workflow, but already a bit sophisticated with some waiting elements, some email to be sent, and some conditional parts. So I have already installed a small project to do that, and I'm going to show you how with Zenaton you can code that. On the left of my screen, you can see a small application. It's not really related to Zenaton. It's a small app written in Node, where I'm going to emulate the action in the application. So, for example, I will emulate the registration here, and I will emulate the fact that the user has installed the agent or do something with it. So when you use Zenaton, basically you will install a project somewhere in one server. We show at the end how to deploy it to Heroku very easily. So you deploy it, your workflow and your task on this server, and then your main application, which is in probably we recommend to put it in another repository, will send basically HTTP call to dispatch workflow, dispatch task, or send event to workflow. And everything that needs to be done regarding the workflow will be done in the project where you have your workflow and your task. So I have some code here. I have already started the small project, And if you are curious about how to start a workflow project with Zenaton, you can look at the documentation. You will see a smaller paragraph about that. It can be done in 5 minutes. So as you can see, the workflow is defined in code. And I have written here the commands, what I want to do. So again, wait an installation for, let's say, 15 days. If the agent has not been installed, send an email to user proposing to do the tutorial, for example, then we start there. But if the agent has been installed, then we wait for something else to happen. We wait for usage. And so, and for a certain time. If not, again, we send an email and so on. So what I can do actually already is in this fake application, I will emulate a registration. And what this application will do is basically trigger a workflow. So I register like this, and I can go to the Zenaton dashboard. Okay. And send a workflow. You can see now that a workflow has been sent. And here I'm going to see all the instances of workflow, and I'm going to see the last one, and nothing happened here. So, but nothing happened, but it has been dispatched. Okay. So nothing happened basically because the workflow currently is empty. So it has been triggered and completed as soon as started. So now, how do I code this with Zenaton? So we actually use what we call Zenaton function. Zenaton function can be used, for example, to wait wait for event or to wait for a duration, but also to dispatch some task or wait for the processing of the task and so on. So here, for example, we will wait for the agent installation. So with everything has to be coded inside the generator function of the workflow. And the syntax is something like this. This waits, and I want to wait an event called, we choose to call it installation. We do that. Currently, just for the moment, I'm going to wait it forever. Okay. So now, only with this line, I'm telling the workflow basically to wait forever to receive an event called installation. So I can again send a new workflow. Okay. And then I can here see that the workflow is currently waiting. And I can wait now for hours or for weeks. It will stay in this state until to receive an event, an installation event. So if I click on this button behind the scene, it's just an HTTP call using the Zenaton API that will target this workflow, identified by here we choose to use the email of the user to identify the workflow. So we target this workflow and send an event to it, just an installation event. So if I click on it, we will see that instantaneously the wait is over because the wait was waiting for this event. I can look at the detail here of the event sent. So it's an object with just a version number. In this case, it should be the version number of the agent. And then the workflow is completed. So the workflow is completed because there is nothing behind. Okay, so now I don't want to wait this event forever. I want to wait for at most 15 days. So what I'm going to do is this syntax. So I'm going to wait this event for 15. Actually, here 15 is not 15 days; it's 15 seconds. But for development, of course, it's much easier. So let's try this. So again, I'm going to dispatch a new workflow. Okay. And now we are waiting for the events, but not more than 15 seconds. So after 15 seconds, the workflow should be completed because yes. So with it was supposed to wait for a limited time. Okay, so now I was saying that this is 15 seconds, not 15 days. Actually, the more common way or useful way to make this distinction between development, staging, or production is to put this type of variable in environment variable. So here I could, for example, use a process of, and in my .env I have already put some variable here that I can use. Oops. Okay. So then this is very interesting because then with the same code I can have different waiting duration in development and in production. If I run that, you can see that probably we will have an error. You see that I have a notification. I did the error on purpose because it's also the occasion to show you the error management on the interface. So I can see that the parameter of the for method is actually waiting for an integer. Yes, because here it's actually a string, and so I just need to convert the string to an integer. And with Node, I just do this little trick, for example. Okay, let me check that. What I wanted to show you is that, so I can retry, and know that it's fixed, is going to continue the processing of the workflow without having to restart it, for example. It's just continue, it's resume from where it failed. Okay. So now I have some waiting. I'm waiting for an event, and I'm not for a certain time. But I have to distinguish the case if I have received or not the events, the installation events. So I will just actually get the output of this method, and if I also receive the events, this variable is not undefined. So I just have to write something like this. If I did not receive the event, yes, then I have to send an email to the user. Okay, so sending an email is a task, and so I have already built a task here. As you can see, the structure of a task is nothing special. It just have an asynchronous function, async function. And here I'm using the SDK of SendGrid, and based on the input, I will basically send the email. So it's a very, very simple task. Nothing fancy about it. And from the boot file, I can see that this definition is associated with the task sendMail. Okay, so I'm going to use this run task sendMail, and I have some input. Just yes, like this. And after that, the workflow ends. So to terminate the workflow, just have to return these functions, and nothing will happen after that. So here you can see that I don't have the yield function. Actually, the yield function here is a bit optional, but the yield means sequential. So if you put a yield before the Zenaton function, you tell the workflow to wait that this task to complete, to wait the completion of this task before continuing. If you omit the yield keyword, it means that the workflow will continue, and so the task will be processed in background. Okay, so now if I do not receive the event, during in our case it was 10 seconds, I should send the email. So let's try to do that. Okay. So I do nothing, and so the email should be sent, or the task should be running. Oh, okay. So I have an error somewhere. Oh yes, user is not defined. Okay. Again, I can see the problem here is that I have user.email. Okay, it's because I have not sent any input to the workflow. So I have actually to, I know that this during this API call, when the workflow is launched, is providing a user. And I can see that actually in the interface. For the dispatch, I can see that an object is sent with a name on an email. Okay, so here I have to put the user as an input of the workflow, and then I could actually use the email of these users. Okay, so let's try again. Oh no, sorry, there. Okay, so now it's completed, and you can see the email is sent. So I can check the input. Yes. So I have not sent any event during for this workflow, and so the email is sent. I can again to run this workflow again. This time I'm going to send an event. Okay, so I have sent the event, and so you can see that the workflow is completed. Why? Without sending the event. Why? Because here I have received an event, and so I do nothing after that. Okay, so now if I receive the installation event, I will this time wait again for the activation events. So it's very similar. So I will wait for another event activation, and it's another variable. This one. Okay. So with only this line, again, I have tell the workflow to wait for an event, and not more than this duration, activation wait duration. And I can actually continue like the previously. So if I did not receive this event, then I will send another email actually. Okay. Terminate here. Okay. So now I have the user has done the installation. We are waiting for the activation. If the activation is not done within, let's say, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, then I will send an email proposing some help. Okay, so let's try this. Again, new one. Up. So I'm guessing, yes, there's an installation. We're waiting. After the installation, nothing happens. The user, for example, does not manage to do something. I don't know. Okay, so we are waiting. And in development, it should be after 20 seconds, I believe, that we should be sending an email. Yes. And after, that's all. Okay. So, and again, if we do it again, but without, so yes, we have this waiting. The installation is done. The activation is done. And then nothing happened behind, because if we look at the workflow, there is nothing behind. And then you understand that it's very easy to complete. Then we can wait here. So we are not waiting for an event here. We are just waiting for a duration. So I can just write yield this wait for, okay, just let's say 5 seconds in development. And then I will send an email. Okay, so yeah, the activation was successful, and so I can send an email with another content, such as look at our examples. Okay, what you can understand from there is that it's very easy to update and to improve your workflow. For example, here I can just have I could have the idea to send a Slack message just after I don't know if someone has successfully activated. So the only thing I need to do is to add a quick task to send the Slack message with the right content, and this task will be monitored or try if it fails, and even if the failure, if at this stage, at the last, I can retry it. Zenaton provides also the ability to do some automatic retry with exponential backup or other strategy, and of course it will retry only this task and continue the workflow after that. You don't have to understand what happened. You just, as soon as the task proceed and is complete, the workflow will continue. And so the workflow now the workflow is complete. Okay. So actually, it's I'm done with the writing of this workflow. I can check it last time. Let me up. So up, a new user subscribe. We did that. Okay, we are waiting. It activates itself. We are waiting just a few 5 seconds, I believe, in this case, and then we can send him a congratulations email. Okay. Again, what you can see, it's the easiness of the implementation, but also the easiness to update and improve. If you want to test different email, if you want to test different workflow, you can do that very easily in the same bytecode. You can do everything by code very easily and react to events with time with this basically this simple Zenaton function. Okay, so keep in mind now this is in the form of a small application where you have your task, your workflow, and now if you need to deploy that on the net on somewhere, actually we recommend to deploy it on a new repository, not on the same repository than your main application, because we have learned ourselves that having the workflows in different repositories is actually very helpful for you to be able to iterate on them and to update them as you need. Okay, so if the sources of this case, for example, are on Github Zenaton samples. It's this one. And a very easy way to deploy the sources of the workflow, the task, and to have them run is to deploy them on heroku. We have different options. You can, of course, deploy them whenever you want, AWS, your own server, whatever. But heroku has a very easy way to do it also. With just one button here, you provide the token on every environment variable, and actually you deploy a small server, put the agent on it, configure it, launch it, and your workflow are actually ready to be used. And this is all what you need. Okay, I hope you have had a good understanding of Zenaton. What I want to show you quickly now is this new feature that we have released just a few weeks ago, the sandbox. The sandbox is basically a way to play with the workflow in a unique interface where you can actually send events and see the monitoring and see the code and play with it and update it to obtain what you want. So we have provided some example. Here, for example, you have the abandoned cart workflow, where, for example, we are going to wait for it. This cart can be this workflow can be triggered or can be dispatched as soon as a cart is created, and we are waiting for the checkout event. And if the checkout event does not occur within a certain duration, typically 1 day, then we can send a notification. And this duration can be extended if a new item are put, for example, in the cart. And as it's code, you can do basically everything you want in the workflow. So the sandbox provides you an easy way to do that, and by just clicking, you can follow the execution, play with the events, yeah, and see what happens. You can even download the project and then install it everywhere you want very easily. Okay, so actually it's all for today. I hope that you have had a good introduction at Zenaton. Do not hesitate in any way to ask a question and to talk to the chat at zenaton.com. We are very happy to answer any question, and I hope it make you understand how Zenaton can help you to quickly iterate on what you have to do on all your processes, all your workflow. Thank you, Lydie. Thank you for being here. And so I hope you saw a good, happy New Year, and I hope see you soon. Again, sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning. It was the first lab session. It won't happen again. Thank you very much. See you. Bye.